Top right-hand side, our blue Zerg player is going to be Raynor. As we go into another matchup from the King of Battles group stages. This was again played middle of November, last weekend. If you're watching this live, you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the description, the exact date, but November 20th or so. ByuN is in the bottom left-hand side, our Red Terran from the Shopify Rebellion. This is a best of 3 in the first match of the group, or second match of the group. We already cast the other one. I just decided to cast some games from this group from replays to fill some time between events today, and yeah, that's basically where we are at. Just having some fun with some of these games, and yeah, obviously some fun players, some cool games, I'd imagine, and excited to be able to cast a bit of them. So, if you guys are enjoying, of course, like I say, and you're watching on the YouTube maybe, do not forget the typical ask request. I'm going to ask you to like, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Maybe you will even leave a comment down below. Let us know if there's any games in particular that you've heard of or seen recently that you would maybe like me to cover for the YouTube channel, because I'm definitely at that point where we're just casting a few replays to buff up the YouTube channel uploads at the moment. So if you guys have got any matches that you've heard about, or maybe just players in particular you want to see more of, then let me know. Usually when I say that, everyone's like, well, I want to see more ByuN and Reynor, because, you know, we're casting the we're casting ByuN and Reynor. You guys are already here for ByuN and Reynor, so it kind of makes sense, right? So yeah, but let me know if you're on the YouTube. Appreciate you guys watching. If you're on Twitch, then oh, you guys don't have to like or subscribe. You can subscribe, but obviously don't feel like you have to. But do follow. Yada yada. I'm just killing the early game as the hatch gas pool gets going, and it is going to be a Reaper expansion on the other side of this as we get all of this ready to roll. So far so good, as we do send our SCV to the upper right hand side, and it's just going to go scouting on in to see what's going on initially. That is the initial plan of action, it would seem. So SCV just going for a little bit of a starting scout, and a factory coming through. Just going to see pretty much the norm. I mean, it's even going to be one gas still as well, right? So we're just going to play this into the 3cc. Nothing really weird about that. Let's watch the Reaper as it goes into the natural. ByuN really feels like he's had a bit of a resurgence the last couple months. He's been consistently playing a little bit better again, and feels like he's been a little bit more back on track once more, and I'm really happy about that. I'm always a ByuN fan myself. I'm always excited to cast ByuN. And yeah, it felt like it's been a weird return from the military. You know, last year he returned, then he won Aces ROG. It feels like then he had quite a drop-off after being very good for a while, and again, wrist issues, etc. But honestly, lately, kind of feels like he's back on track a little bit. Has been taking steps in the right direction to be very competitive. He's been doing well in a lot of online cups. Just needs to translate some of that into some of the bigger tournaments, perhaps, still. As hey, Corn76, thank you so much for the 100 bits. Appreciate the support today, mate. Thank you so much. It's going to be seen how Ling's coming through. The Reaper is going to dodge out the side. Is going to get the Creep Tumor. Nice play to grab the Creep Tumor. That's very cute. As the Roach Roam continues in, it's about halfway done. The hatchery just building as well. And just going to be seeing again a couple more drones still coming through. Overlord still on the way out. Queen also coming into play. As we just get this all going. So we're going to play the Roach Roaring early. Interest as to the plan with the roaches exactly. He's got quite a lot of gas, so I imagine the plan is just to make a lot of roaches and go to attack with them. And just do your typical plan of roach-ling attack and then follow up with the drones. And we see this a lot of the time. Was just wondering if maybe he had some kind of like Dark-esque kind of style. I just wanted to macro up a little bit behind this more and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm only thinking of that because we casted some Dark ZVT already today against Maru, which was a lot of fun. And he did kind of do a bit of that. We talked about it. There's 9 roaches and then into drones, so it's not like Roach Ling really even. He's just going to send those roaches across the map. I guess it wouldn't be Lings because there's no Ling speed this game. Jeez. Check me out being a slowpoke. But yeah, there's no Lings, so it's just going to be roaches across the map and then just trying to deal some damage. Obviously, there's no bunker or anything, so actually this is likely to do a fair amount of damage here. As we are going to see, initially these Hellions in trouble, and some of the roaches already ran back the other side. They blocked for a second. That's an extra Hellion kill as the Reaper's gone down too. And now down to the bottom left-hand side we go. Bunker is building up right there, and his roaches are coming quickly towards it to try and shut that down. So this bunker looking as though it's going to be in some trouble. Yeah, I mean, that's just not going to get online in time, as we have high ground vision too, so we can even hit the units as we go up the ramp, and SCVs will pull to try and fight this. And this is where Raynor will just get some good damage done initially. 4 SCVs already dropping. And the Roach Ravager's pulling back that little bit further. A few more corrosive vials, and boom, an SCV shot. Just going to see these Marines being chased as the Marauder takes some damage as well. More SCVs continuing to fall. If you do turn back around, the Overlord will go down. But yeah, I mean, ByuN's already in a ton of trouble, right? 29 SCVs remaining. His army supply is okay, but the difference in workers is just phenomenal. And Raynor keeps these few units alive, so he even already has some units up to help him with the first bit of pressure that Terran would apply here. So that's going to be a bit of a factor as well, as that Ravagers move back up to the top side of the map and just escaping away for the moment. You saw combat shields from ByuN as well. I mean, his advantages here, ByuN, will be his army. In terms of, he's going to have upgrades, he's going to have 1-1, he's going to have combat shields. So actually, you know, upgrade-wise, Raynor is in a pretty bit of, a bit of a hole. Maybe ByuN can do something with some efficient trades. Maybe that is a possibility. As these two medevacs for now will continue their way across to the upper right-hand side. So making a bit of a move already. And yeah, just double medevacs dropping up. And like I say, looking for some efficient trades here. Looking to get those upgrades into play. Might be tough because if Raynor just has enough roaches, upgrades won't really make enough of a difference. But let's see as we get a couple of group teamers going down again. Just going to lift. Complete disaster there, trying to lift those units up and to figure out what's actually going on. It's going to be seen on medevacs loading up, and now they pull back down the bottom side. So just moving this around a little bit. And you have the 1-1 missile upgrades coming through. The roach speed is all coming up. This Bio Army looking to maybe make its way back toward the main base here soon. As we go back and forth. And now, Raynor, I'm just following this drop because not much is going on. I mean, Raynor is just kind of continuing to build roaches as we stim up into this. We get a roach, we get two, and actually going to go for the Ravagers. This is where ByuN is going to be able to do okay. Yeah, that was not so bad. He's really late to his armory, though, so he's going to be late to 2-2, and obviously Raynor's just looking for a big 1-1 timing anyway. He's on 74 drones. When 1-1 and roach speed is done, there's no reason for him to not at least test the waters with an attack. And I believe he's going to be doing very, 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 very well off that attack as well, for sure. As our bio units will unload. Just going to be seeing the armory still coming up. Going to be finishing very soon. Another depot. About to complete right here. And for the moment, that will be that as we get all of this finishing. Now, these roaches and ravagers will continue down the left-hand side. Just going to pick away at another set of rocks. So again, in we go. A couple of Marines already getting picked off. Medevacs are going to get chased away, and just going to see that orbital command lifted off. Now we see a few of these SCVs being picked away at as well. So SCVs going down. Rest of the bio units now unloading. I mean, this is the question of just can you ever take your third base against this amount of pressure in this kind of a situation? Realistically, probably not. There's just so many units here, right, from Raynor, and yeah, I think he does probably just succeed in just keeping on pressing through, and if you can't take your third base, eventually you just get overwhelmed. I mean, Raynor's adding on some drones and infestation pit 2-2 upgrades, so Raynor will just improve his position in this game. He sees where he's at, he knows where he wants to be at in the end, he kind of knows where to go and what to do, so looking pretty good for Raynor as the infestation pit comes up in the upper right-hand side. We're going to see a stim in, but once more, Roach Ravager shows up to just kind of turn them bio units away. More corrosive Vials still coming down. The Ravager's now backing it up a little bit. Now we're going to re-engage in. Vials starting to hit on a few of these medevacs. So medevacs will take some damage. Force that order command to lift back off again. So, again, it's going to ping-pong up and down a little bit. And, again, Raynor doesn't need to attack in because he knows the tanks are going to create a good trade for ByuN. So he didn't feel the need to attack in until, well, now he's actually going to commit much further than I thought he even would, because, again, there was no harm in just sitting here and denying the base from landing. And, again, if you attack in and you lose too much, maybe you lose that opportunity. In this case, not really the situation. It's fine. In fact, he's actually going to kill the orbital now with corrosive Vials, potentially. SCVs have to pull into repair. That's actually a really big problem. More Vials will continue down. SCVs are repairing enough, it would seem. Yes, now he put the Vials back onto the siege tanks, but, of course, again, it's just freaking expensive from ByuN. He's losing units he cannot afford to replace repeatedly like he's doing here, and yeah, this is just going to be Raynor up 80 supply. Has been for a while, quite frankly. And we're just waiting to see when ByuN eventually gets overrun and taps out. Obviously, we want to wait to the Hive and the Lurkers. ByuN's about to have 2-2, which is something. He'll have an upgrade lead for a few moments here. Oh, the orbital just goes down. Well, yeah, the orbital going down really is a cost you cannot, recover from. I mean, not that he was really looking to recover anyway, but it definitely does kind of put a little bit more emphasis on the Raynor victory, which is looming over us here. It's just kind of waiting for that as a couple more Vipers start up. The Lurker Den will come down back at the main base. And our Roach Ravager army sitting into the center of the map and waiting to make a play. 5 units coming through, and a couple Crypt Humans going to come in and finish. And yeah, Corrosive Battles, and ByuN's just going to be typing GG. That will be that. Raynor does start with the 1-0 lead here over ByuN. And that first map of the series, as the Roaches just got way too much done at the start. Left-hand corner of the map, our Blue Zerg player. This is Raynor, taking that 1-0 lead. And now on a very short map. I wonder if he'll stick to that kind of aggressive stance that he took last time around, or what his plan may be. Bottom right, our Red Terran player is going to be ByuN from the Shopify Rebellion. Blow drones building up, and we get our early game underway. Short map has created some fun ZVT. Typically, Terrans have decided that they like this map, I think, more than the Zergs like it. It definitely comes out to be a Terran pick a lot of the time. But not so much so that it's a Zerg veto 100% of the time either. It is sometimes. But obviously, a lot of the time, you can just get to that point where it's like, oh, okay, let's just get up to, Serious Minds. Sometimes, like, Raynor, I know, likes playing it because it's so open, lots of counterattack and surround potential. And he plays that part of it very well. We actually see a lot of back and forth games on this map for that reason. The potential to be very aggressive and quick to attack as the Terran, but then the counterattacks also hit you quickly, and they can come in from a lot of angles, and you can get some good fights. It makes for entertaining games. I've loved this map since it was in the TLMC. I'm kind of happy with it on the ladder. I feel like it's continued to give us some pretty good games as of late, so just happy with Curious Minds in general. For me, it's a big tick, and just puts a smile on my face when we get to see it. It's a lot of fun. Command Center is starting on the natural expansion of ByuN, so just getting that ready to roll, and obviously he's going to go for the reactor first, so he's not going to go for a Reaper initially. He's going to go straight into a good amount of Marine production, and wonder then if something aggressive will come from him, with it being a shorter map. Those Marines have potential to walk across even. It's not something you see all of the time, but these Korean Terrans, they do come out with some kind of attacks like that sometimes, where it's like, wait, surely you can't just attack right now. And then they attack, and you're like, oh, you can just attack right now. That's amazing. It happens more often than you'd think, actually. So, yeah, kind of intrigued as to how this goes. Just going to be seeing our Overlord hanging around at the moment, and just going to be getting link speed started from Raynor. Obviously, we're only 2.5 minutes in, so lots of time to figure out what's up, but there is going to be a second gas. That's already going to indicate a little bit of continued aggression from ByuN going up into that starport before we see any signs of a third CC. So he's definitely not looking to be super eco-focused here this time around, as these Marines will fight the Lings, which obviously come across the map. Seeing there's no Reaper, they take that chance to move across. The Marine goes down, 4-2 Lings, pretty whatever kind of trade. Maybe a little bit more influential for ByuN, because now that means he's not going to be able to have an extra Marine in an attack, and maybe that's more substantial. But now he gets 4 Lings. Now I actually don't mind it at all. I mean, there's also 4 Lings that are going to be missing from the fight, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a whatever sort of mid-situation is. Oh, that's a nice catch on the Overlord, and multiple Marines from either side will kill it off. So that's actually big, because it's going to supply block Raynor a few moments. And he already had some money to spend, so he just starts 1 extra Overlord instead. Although he was already going to be coming out and unsupply blocked soon, so yeah, ByuN has got the gas to start an armory if that's what he wants to go for, but I believe it's a factory built in the tech lab at the moment, so Starport is going to move over to the tech lab that the barracks built. Oh, sorry, the factory already built a tech lab, now it's built in another one, so it's just going to be Cloaked Banshees. That's where all of that gas is going to go, and then the factory finishes so we can build a siege tank as well, I'd imagine, and we can basically set up Marine Tank Banshee as a push in itself is pretty powerful. Obviously, the Banshees have some harassing potential. I wonder how ByuN approaches this, whether he does actually just Marine tank push, or whether he is just going to let the Banshees do whatever they want, and then he's got the Marines and tanks at home to be very safe from a counter as well. I mean, if nothing else, this is very safe, right? And if Raynor was to roach rush in this game, he'd get completely stomped. You know, the Marine count alone would already be good there, and that's probably already kind of dissuasive, you know, or dissuading Raynor from actually committing to something like that. Marine's going to chill out on the low ground then. This Banshee is going to escape away to the left-hand side. Oh, this barracks is going to be misplaced on that tech lab for a moment, so as he wants to get over and start up stim. Oh, he fixes it though. And he's going to add the extra barracks onto the reactor. I'm sure barracks number 3 will come down next to the factory. And there's the third CC as well. So it looks like it's just going to be the Banshees to kind of do what they want to do. And then obviously behind that, there's only that one single siege tank. Just very, very safe from ByuN. Really not leaving any openings and really just making sure he's very well covered here. Making sure, like I say, he's just not going to give Raynor any opportunities. Obviously, someone as good as Raynor, if you're giving him opportunities, he's going to take them. Although this one is not an opportunity that Raynor was really kind of set to take. Again, he would have had to decide to be aggressive way earlier in the game. No Lara, no spores, though, and that's pretty bad, as now already 4 drones are going to go down, and Reynor's caught completely off guard by the speed of these cloaked Banshees. As the Banshee chases up into the main base, and we'll get at least 3 or 4 more drones before this Spore Crawler is finished. And, of course, the Queens are coming in, and that's when the Banshee has to be kind of out of here. And not doing that. That was a complete misclick. And that's an unfortunate misclick, as ByuN did really well with this Banshee. But he should have absolutely still had it alive to have now this 2 Banshee hit squad, which would have been way more effective and way better. Yeah, that's actually a real shame, because that takes away a lot of the potential future damage being done. And even these Banshees, if they got on the map and cleaned out some creep, would be nice right now, because that creep is already stretching across to near to where ByuN's third base is going to be taken. So, yeah, a little concerned about that for sure as we continue to settle down. I see another tank sieging up towards the front there. These Lings are going to take a turn. They're going to step back for a few moments. And again, extra creep spread continuing through. Racks coming in. The armory goes down into the natural. And just going to be seeing our Lings still sitting out on the bottom side. The Queens show up, and the Banshee taking a little bit more damage. Just going to get pushed away. And the Marines continue through, looking to pick away some creep spread here. Out into the center. That's a good amount of creep already being picked away at, so coming in with that and just going to be going through with it. Just going to see a couple Lings moving around. Mule is going to drop in. And our 1-1 upgrades continuing through on the evolution chambers. So all of this still on the way in right now as we get a hatchery to the 12 o'clock. And we still see our few Marines and a tank setting up around into the center as well. We're going to stem these Marines forward as they're going to go for some Queens. There's one. And looking for 2. 2 Queens going down. A creep team picked off as well. Now ByuN just pulling the rest of these Marines back just a step or 2 also. As we settle down to see what's next. Medevacs coming through. Marines and 1-1 upgrades all continuing to be brought into play at the moment. As I guess we're now going to see a bit more of a proper push from ByuN. Starting to get rolling. So along we go, as the Queens are going to get set up. I mean, ByuN going to unsiege the tanks. Doesn't have combat shields yet, despite the 1-1 finishing, so I guess that is a reason to be cautious, a reason to maybe hang back a little bit still, and to maybe not fully commit right away. Oh, tank's not sieged here, as ByuN has to pull back, but can he get the Banelings? Yes, he can. Only 1 Baneling reached, and it did hit the edge of those Marines. But that will be about it. And now these Queens are off creep as well, and Reynor's going to find himself in a ton of trouble. That fight looked good because the tanks were in siege, but with the upgrade advantage, and then the Banelings were just all clumped up, walking in a line because there's no Bane speed as well, so the tanks target them. And like I say, 1 Baneling connected, but it just isn't enough to make a difference. And now ByuN, he's got the Medevacs healing these Marines back up, and even without combat shields, I think he's going to be okay here as these tanks continue to do good damage. Yeah, that looks as though that's going to be it. GG's. And ByuN is going to take game number 2, tying this series up 1-1. Nicely handled. GG's from ByuN. See who wins this series out is in the bottom left-hand side. We're going to have the blue Zerg player Raynor. He does take on the red Terran. In the top right-hand corner of the map, it is ByuN. Let's kick off into game number 3 then. Get this ready to roll. Have a look to see what's going to go down in our final map of this series. Not sure if we're going to cast another after this, by the way, guys. Again, we've got about 2 hours till ESL Open Cup Europe, so just, we'll see. See how we're feeling. I might just take some time to chill out and hang out a little bit after this one. Well, like I said, we'll see what happens, see how the day goes. Now, let's enjoy this and see what's going to go down. Is cracks coming through, a few drones on the way out, a hatchery is on the way on the natural. Just going to be seeing this overload of Raynor heading to the top right-hand side. So just getting that moved around at the moment here. Low ground Rax has me kind of wondering kind of what the plan was from ByuN, but only one Rax is just going to make one Marine, and it's just going to be a low ground wall off there, and obviously your add-on is safe on this side apart from to roaches, but at least it's safe from like lings and stuff, so not the craziest thing we've seen. Hey, what's up, Slowly? Soup cooking stream when? Well, I don't cook it, right? Because Helen brought me it, so I guess never. Unless Helen does a soup cooking stream. Thanks so much for the 41-month resub, though. I mean, it was quite literally, you open the tin, you put it in the bowl, you put it in the microwave. I'm not sure how much of a stream that would make. Well, might be longer than the next group, though. When we cast just 2 best 3s on the first day. Ay. Because them groups are silly. I'm still bothered by it. Second rack coming down here as a reactor comes down from ByuN in the wall off. So getting the reactor down for the wall off, getting that established. It's just obviously going to be that barracks being used to pretty good effect for the foreseeable future. Fuelings on the way out, ling speed coming through, and those fuelings surrounding the set of rocks here and just taking those down. The factory building in the main base, and again a few Marines just heading their way out down to the south side of the map to take position and to see if they can maybe do something. Obviously just a lot of Marines quickly, but, well, not even a lot of Marines quickly, but just Marines quickly on the map, I suppose, as they make their way down to the south. But again, so far it doesn't really look as though there's going to be too much to be done there. There's going to be that ling speed finishing up then, stims on the way, and the Marines are still coming out. I'm just going to see a couple more SCVs being brought in as well, as our lings of Raynor will head across the upper right-hand side. So they will move up to the top here, just going to be seeing the rest of these lings moving through. And Marines trying to fall back towards the depot, and just the lings getting a decent surround there to shut them down, so already those Marines will fall. Just going to be seeing SCVs being pulled in to repair this. So this wall-off is going to hold. I mean, with the Marines behind, Reynor's not going to be able to do much with this flood of lings. He's only on 19 drones as well, so he's really hoping to deal damage with this. Can he actually break through this bottom side? I guess so, because not enough SCVs can repair, but he gives up on it. Oh, wow. I actually thought he was starting to make his way through, but maybe just not enough lings left to justify getting through at the end. Well, that's really bad for Raynor. He made so many lings, and only just now goes back into drone, and ByuN only lost a handful of Marines, and obviously some mining time, a few minerals to repair. Obviously, he doesn't care about that. That's absolutely fine. That's A-okay. No one really cares about that at all. The stim pack continues up. The medevacs and Marines will continue to rally out, and yeah, just going to be seeing one Marine trying to bait these lings towards the wall. That's a cute little gap to put that one Marine in as well. And put another one there, so he's got 2 Marines to try and bait the lings in with. It's cute. I mean, if you go in to fight those, it's not going to be good for you at all as Raynor. The only thing I'm worried about for ByuN is if like some banelings showed up, he's actually going to just fight these lings with more Marines now. Obviously, you can't go too far forward. You want to be able to fall back to the bunker. He's got medevacs too, and he's got stim actually, so he's actually completely fine to make a move like this, and that's why he's making it. So we head down to the bottom left side of the map. Now, lings are going to be getting over here and just going to be sitting between some minerals as these Marines on low going to get an overlord. This is rough for Raynor because already he was down on economy early game. because of his own decision-making. Now he's going to be supply blocked heavily. He loses another Overlord. Okay, he does not, but still heavily supply blocked. His minerals already stacking up. We'll see if he can spend them on anything at all here. As the couple queens going to go back around to the right side, and those Marines with the medevacs. Well, they are going to continue through, as we're just going to be having a queen picked off. Lings showing up, and oh, medevac is going to get taken down. So the medevac will fall, and the Marines will pull back out into the center. Gain a few more Marines, combat shield and +1, all of this continuing to come on through. Marines grab the Overlord, so that's a nice little kill as we move down the bottom, and just going to be coming through. Ling's looking for a surround, but the Marines are quick to lift up. Raynor just dropped a macro hatchery as he's also going to move over for the 4th base now, but I mean, he just had so much money stacked up from being supply blocked a little while, I think, that he's just trying to think like, well, what can I spend my money on at this stage? What can I spend my money on? Medevac falls back. You can see more of these Marines, the Medevac, the tanks, all of this setting up from ByuN, so bringing those forward and heading down to the south. Let's see that one Ling and take the watchtower, and it's going to get chased off pretty much immediately, so it's going to get chased out of there, and again, we continue all the way southbound, where we are going to end up on this 4th base hatchery, and I just don't think you keep this alive, right? Tanks are sieged up in great positions. Raynor doesn't even have a Baneling nest still, and now he's down an upgrade as well, so these Marines are going to trade great. This is going to cancel that hatchery. I mean, what about this macro hatch? If you don't have this, then you're going to really miss out on production. I think the whole idea of this macro hatch in part as well was just like, oh, hey, look, I can have at least a hatch up even if you deny my 4th. Now the left side base will be on the way, but really good delay for ByuN, as Reynor's initial choice to Ling Flood is just completely backfiring. He obviously really believed he could get something done across the map early that just never happened, and because of that, he continues to just reel in pain as ByuN presses even further forward, tank sieging up, and he's now going to be in range to start hitting that extractor, right? If he gets the medevac there with the Marines. Oh, that tank doesn't reach it? I thought it did. Maybe if this tank moved forward? Maybe not. For some reason I thought that was a strike. Maybe I'm thinking of a wrong map for some reason. Things across the map find a few Marines, but the medevacs do save them as well, and well, over here we do see this medevac gets picked off, so that's going to be the end of this harass for a little while, at least the harass being as effective as it was being. These Marines are going to come in, though, and that's a 4th base again. You cannot lose these 4th bases, and we've lost them already once, and now we're going to start losing it a second time. He has to cancel. Raynor knows he needs the money back from that, and you know, it's just rough. I mean, you got these Lings running in, Marines just going to lift off, go elsewhere. I mean, the action just continues from ByuN. It just feels like Raynor again down in a gutter and can't quite find his way out of it. We'll lift up Marines one more time. Still a few units out down on the 6 o'clock. Extra Bane's coming through, extra Ling's coming through. Bane speed finishing shortly as our melee upgrade is going to be coming up to being about halfway done. In just a few moments' time as we get back over here. Just going to see the Ling Bane coming through once again and just setting up. These additional Banelings of Raynor are just going to morph in. Doing the bases, and around the right left-hand side, we're going to see these Marines taking a step forward. Lings are going to go running for this as the Marines is going to get surrounded. They will lift off the Marines and pull back a little. Making their way back to the upper right-hand side. Tanks and Marines will be in plentiful numbers over here. Don't think there's anything you can do as Raynor to run into this. He's about to even up the upgrades at least, as his melee upgrade will be done in the next 15 seconds. But yeah, he can't be aggressive, so then he's just got to be defensive. And at least finally he's got a 4th base up right. Are things starting to look a little bit brighter for him? He's got a lot of money he needs to spend. That's just having not had this base for so long, man. Those Lings are stacked up on that choke point. No, the tanks are working on them consistently. Oh, those tanks probably ended with a lot of kills, as we're going to see the next wave of ByuN already moving along the left-hand side. Away we go. You know it, guys, right? He's just going to keep on pushing because he's in that kind of a position in the game. Raynor, I think, really is just going to keep on struggling to deal with these armies. I mean, there's nothing immediately happening that is just going to kind of save the day, right? As tanks siege up, the Marines are pulling back. Marines will just stand here, and a lot of the Ling Bane getting splattered. And we just see the tanks and siege once again going back to the left-hand side. Additional banelings morphing in from Raynor. As we are going to be seeing a couple of tanks sieging up. The Lings continuing through. Hatchery is going to be going down, so that hatch on the left side will fall. A few of these Broodlings going down. Bane's getting chased away. Just going to be seeing these tanks and siege once more. As the Marines take a step back, mauling Bane into the center. This is just rough, guys. I mean, what do you do to stop this attack? Again, we've got to retake a 4th base. Playing 3 bases this entire time. At least there's a macro hatchery up now, so a lava issue that maybe, you know, came around before, money in the bank that was not being spent. At least that's kind of avoided here. So Marine's going to go dropping off into the main base. There's also the push making around the right side. And, of course, we're still remaining with the units on the left as well, really. It's, like I say, just feels like an impossible situation. And really, I'm intrigued as to how the hell Raynor is going to try and pull himself properly out of this, because I am stuck for answers. I do not have a way for him to do this at the moment, unfortunately, and I know that's very pessimistic of me, but that's just kind of true. I mean, maybe this is it, just diving on half the Terran army at a time, and if he can get a really good run-by off, maybe, and some really good harassment of his own going at the same time, that might be the answer here, but right now it's 2-2 versus 1-1, and you can see it on these Marines. They are slaying Zerglings that are running forward to try and fight. We lift up, we pull back to the siege tanks here. Ling's going to start taking some damage. The problem is he's just not getting, you know, the problem is if he gets a chance to run by, there's not really a chance in reality, because what he thinks is maybe a chance to run by is just going to be ByuN showing up with more units, because ByuN's got that sort of momentum at this stage. The trades have been fantastic, especially this last one. You can just see how Raynor drops off way too much, considering he's barely mining in comparison to where he should be, right? He's on 57 drones. You know, at this stage we're talking about wanting to be equal or even ahead of the Terran on workers, and yet he's 5 behind, so again, just problem after problem here as Lingbane will start to move on through, connecting a little bit. This fuse banelings. Tanks were not sieged. I mean, if there's going to be fights you win, maybe those are the ones, but I mean, again, off creep, it's just not going to be enough. And this really just comes back around to Raynor's early game where he decided to Ling Flood, didn't get enough done, and from there on out, the rest of this game really did just feel like it was already decided, so GG's, and ByuN takes the 2-1 victory here in the King of Battles, would move on through to play Cyril in a winner's match. Maybe we'll cast that at some point as well. As like, I think this is actually just a cool group in general, the King of Battles, so GG's, ByuN 2-1.